What's down, people, and welcome back to another episode of Ghetto Gospel. So where we left off at. Last week, we talked about how Joseph turned all the people up in Egypt into slaves. It wasn't as cutthroat as it sounded. They was all broke and hungry, so they sold all their land and themselves to be slaves. Alright, maybe it was as cutthroat as it sounded. And Jacob told Joseph to make sure that when he died, that he ain't bury him in Egypt, but that he buried him where his ancestors was. And now we caught up. So verse 48 start off telling us that a little bit after what happened in the last chapter, it don't tell us exactly how long, somebody told Joseph that his pops was getting sicker. I'm guessing that because Joseph was balling, he probably just hired somebody to take care of his pops. So he grabbed up his two sons and headed on out to go see his pops. When them folks told Jacob that Joseph had showed up, he gathered up his strength, sat up in the bed, and told his son, "Look here, son, God met me when I was in Luz out there in Canaan. He came at me like, I'm gonna have you out here doing good. It's gonna be a bunch of nations that come from you, and I'm gonna give this land to your descendants permanently." And I gotta pause this right here, because there's a lot of folks that read this verse and get it twisted, because they take God concepts and try to think about them from a human lens, or worse, a Western lens. When most folks these days say Western, they usually talking about this part of the world. We talked about that. Forever or permanent to God means something way different than what it means to us. At the same time, the word give means something way different to God than what it means to us. Check it out. So for us, permanent or forever might just mean a real long time. Like, depending upon what we talking about, forever just might mean some years or a lifetime or a few hundred years. But to God, forever mean forever. Like, we don't even have the kind of brain power to really understand what forever actually means. At the same time, the word give means something different to God than what it means to us. The way most people think about the word give, especially here in the West, we think about somebody taking something and giving it to you and making it yours and all yours and nobody else's. But then think about God. Who on the air? God. Who on the stars? God. Who on the earth? God. You see God out here talking about don't look at his stars? That's gonna happen. It just ain't happened yet. You see God telling folks to get off his planet? When the last time you saw God cut off somebody else's supply? I guess that one might be debatable. The point is, God owns all this stuff, but all he do with it is share it with us. And if that's how God operates, I imagine we'll be arrogant to think that we know better than he do. Why I'm saying that? It's a lot of folks who use this scripture to say that God got a problem with immigration because he told some Hebrew a long time ago that a piece of land was gonna be for him and for his descendants forever. Let's just ignore for a second the fact that God was talking to a specific dude about a specific piece of land. If you follow the story of them descendants that God was talking about, a few generations down the line, God done had enough of their foolishness and he about to kick them out the land he promised them. We just gonna call that the promised land. And one of the many reasons he said he was gonna do that is because they was mistreating strangers on their land, aka immigrants. So when you hear folks get all nationalistic talking greasy about immigrants and they trying to justify it with the Bible, just remember how God feel about that, because he don't change. So anyway, back to Jacob and his son Joseph. After he said what he said about God promising him the land, he was like, "See them two boys you had in Egypt before I came out here? They mine now. Ephraim and Manasseh. Them was Joseph's boys. Just as much mine now as Judah and Simeon is. Them was Joseph's brothers. The kids you have after them gonna fall under their brothers when it come to their inheritance." And this tell you that, at least on some level, Jacob understood what was coming for his descendants, with them actually inheriting what God said they would. And it also sounded like Jacob wasn't waiting until the last minute to get his succession plan in order. So then he kept talking like, "When I was coming back from that spot called the field, Rachel died along the way when we was buku far from the city, and it tore me up. I buried her right there along the way to the city." Why he threw that last piece in there? I don't know. Do it mean something deeper? Almost certainly. Most of the Bible do. Either way, I'm gonna stick a pin in it right here because I don't want to make this episode too long. So that's it for this week. If you don't know Jesus, but you're trying to get to know him, go and click that first link in the description down there. Other than that, I'll see y'all next week. And as always, peace, and I hope y'all people straight.